Happy New Year, comic community. Joe here with 360 Comics. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I know I did because I woke up at 6 in the morning to drive an hour over to a comic shop in New Jersey because they had an incredible New Year's Day sale. I hit it up. I got tons of stuff, and I'm going to show it to you today. Quick reminder, if y'all want to support the channel for free, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up for a like, and leave a comment down below. It also enters you to win this copy of Alpha Flight Number One for our 1,200 subscriber giveaway, and you can check out our other videos, give them a like, and leave a comment for additional entries. So hit them all up and maximize your chance of winning. So not only was I not aware about this sale until the day before on New Year's Eve, but I had actually never heard of this comic shop before. They're located about an hour from me in South Jersey, and they're called Panther Comics. Now, fortunately, Jim from Bronzeville Comics had heard about this store from a video on Erod's YouTube channel, and he also found out that there was going to be a sale on New Year's Day and told me that I should hit it up, knowing that I live reasonably close and could drive there. So I checked out the sale on their Instagram, and it said 50% off back issues, and that got me interested. So I'm thinking, all right, I got to get there early. Back issues were 50% off, but in addition to that, their wall books and slabs were 25% off. So that is just a phenomenal deal on comics. Most shops don't sell their stuff at that steep of a discount, even on special occasions and holidays. So I needed to check this out. And honestly, I was worried that there was going to be a huge line there. So I made sure I got up early at 6 in the morning to drive to Jersey and get there before the crowds. And you know what? I did. I got there at 7:30 and there was not a single person there. No one lined up outside the store for their 9 o'clock opening. I got there an hour and a half early, so I was pretty sure I was going to be first. I had a little bit of breakfast and some coffee from Wawa, and I hung out. Well, 8 o'clock, 8:30, even 8:45 rolls around, and not a single other person showed up. Finally, 10 minutes before 9, the owner comes and says, I can get in a little bit early. And I'm like, cool. And I told him I was surprised to not see anyone there, and he said, yeah, people show up. Sure enough, by 9:15, the store was absolutely packed, but I did get some time before really anyone else showed up. I went right to the back issues, started there, then I migrated over to the dollar bins, and then looked at the wall books and slabs last. I felt like the best deals would probably be hidden in those back issue bins, the $5 to $30, $5 to $40 book range. I got some great stuff, and if you want to hear about the cost and what I think the value is and have me talk about the financials behind this whole thing, stick around to the end of the video because I got some great feedback from my last couple videos where I talked more about that kind of stuff, and people seem to like hearing that. So stick around to the end. We're going to start down at the lower value books, and we'll go up from there. So I ended up filling up 2 full short boxes and also got a slab, which I'll show you at the end. One of those short boxes was from the regular back issue bins, and another short box was from the dollar bins. I'm going to hold off on the dollar bin stuff because that would just make this video insanely long, and we're just going to start at the books that were marked at $5. But come back later this week, and I'll have the dollar bin books in a video for you. So, like I said, these books are starting marked at $5, but they were half off. So I paid $2.50 for this first batch of books. We've got Harley Quinn number 1. I believe this was volume 2 of the Harley Quinn solo run, the new 52 run, and this was just a great pickup for this price, worth a little bit more than that, certainly. And anytime I get something Harley Quinn in, it goes immediately. Really popular character. Next up, we got Detective Comics 608. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you definitely know this one because I love this cover. It's the first appearance of Anarchy, and it is one of my favorite covers of all time. For $2.50, easy buy. Next, we got Superman 19, Superman Man of Steel 19, second appearance of Doomsday. Really awesome cover, and not much more to say about that other than it's a newsstand. Awesome. Another $2.50 buy here. We got Superboy Zero, and not only that, there were actually 4 copies of this book that I picked up, all for $2.50 a piece. This book sells for $10, so I spent $10 on 4 copies, and I got some room there. This is the first cameo appearance of King Shark before his first full appearance in Superboy number 9. Next up, we got Todd Mcfarlane homaging Todd McFarlane in Spawn number 8. He took his art from Spider-Man number 1 from the 1990 run, and kind of changed it up a little bit to his own character of Spawn for this 8th issue of the run. Next, we got Batman 475, the first appearance of Renee Montoya. This is a pretty nice copy too, really high grade. Going backwards a little bit here, we got Batman 436. This is the first appearance of Tim Drake. I could not believe this book was marked at $5. Typically sells in the teens somewhere, depending on grade. And graded copies are definitely over $100 at this point if they're hitting that 9.8. Tim Drake, he's the 3rd Robin, and people love picking up these affordable Batman keys. Next, another one, we got Batman and Robin number 1. This was from the first Batman and Robin run that featured Damian Wayne. Love this cover. I'm personally a big fan of Damian, so this is definitely a great pickup here. Some more Batman-related things. We got Brightest Day number 14, the first appearance of Batman as a White Lantern. Really awesome cover here, and one of the keys to look out for in this Brightest Day run. Next, we got Batman Shadow of the Bat number 1. A number 1 in a Batman run. Really great cover art, and the first appearance of Victor Zsasz for $2.50. Can't go wrong with that. This next book, there was not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 copies. There were 9 copies of Green Lantern 43. Why? I have no idea. Maybe they ordered a bunch and didn't sell them all. Maybe a speculator had held on to them and eventually sold them to the store. I'm not really sure, but they had them marked pretty cheap at just $5, so I definitely picked them up because I only paid $2.50. And this book sells for $10, $12, $15, depending on the grade. We got Green Lantern 43, the first appearance of Black Hand as a Black Lantern. And honestly, the cover makes this book. It is an awesome cover. Love to see it. Some more Blackest Night era Green Lantern, this time Green Lantern Corps number 43, the first appearance of Guy Gardner as a Red Lantern. They did some switching up in this run. I'm not super familiar with it, but I know a lot of Green Lantern fans that are really into this, the Blackest Night stuff. Next, we got another Green Lantern, a little bit older. This is from the 90s run. We've got number 51, the first cover appearance of Kyle Rayner. And, he was the, fourth main Green Lantern, I guess you could say, because there were tons and tons. But yeah, this is part of his first story arc. I think he first appears in 48, and then first appears as the Green Lantern in 50? Or 49, I forget, one of those two, and then this is his first cover appearance. We got Supergirl number 1. This is the first appearance of I'm blanking on her name right now. The first appearance of this version of Supergirl. Iconic cover from the 90s with the skateboard. Love it, and those of you who know me, I'm really into skateboarding, and in fact, that's where I got the name 360 Comics from. And great cover at that, and a first appearance. Next up, we've got Age of Ultron number 10. This is a book I've spoken about many times. I've found these in dollar bins a couple times recently, and I had it on my speculation list. This is the first Marvel appearance of Angela. Her first appearance is in Spawn 9. That's a more expensive book. This one is still pretty undervalued, kind of selling around $10 for raw usually, but I got them for $2.50, and not only did I get one, I got a polybagged version and a second polybagged version. So I ended up getting 3 copies of this book, 2 of which were still in the polybag. Honestly, the polybag doesn't matter too much, and really you want to take comics out of the polybag, but hey, it is what it is. I will check them out and make sure there was no damage done. I'm going to stick these down here because we got to make some room for more of these $2.50 books. We got Alpha Flight number 106. Yeah, 106 in this issue. I mentioned this recently in a video. North Star comes out as gay, and this was really the first time that happened in a more mainstream comic publication. This is all the way back in 1992, and it was pretty much ahead of its time. This should have been next to the other Angela book, but whatever. This is the first book of her solo run, Angela, Asgard's Assassin. Number 1, really great cover art, and this sells for about $10, so I was happy to pick it up for just $2.50. This next one's kind of a little bit of a spec on my part. We got Guardians of the Galaxy number 25, featuring this incredible Galactus cover. Not only is it foil, but Galactus is foil and the other guys aren't, so it kind of gives this 3D illusion on the cover of this book. I think Galactus stuff, especially cover appearances, are gonna, hike their way up in value when the character inevitably comes to the MCU. I don't think anyone out there will disagree that this character will show up eventually. Who knows how long it'll be, though. Next, we got X-Men 444. This is a phenomenal cover of my favorite X-Men, Nightcrawler, just his tail, rather. And I didn't have this one for my personal collection. I've seen it a bunch of times, but places are always asking, $5, $7, $10 for it. For $2.50, easy addition to my personal collection, especially because I'm working on an entire X-Men run from 1 to 544. It's going to take me a while to get there, but I'm working on it. Next, we got a book that's been on the hot list recently. I was very surprised to still see it in a back issue bin. Warlock and the Infinity Watch number 2, the first appearance of the Infinity Watch. Like I said, this has been on the hot list recently, as has number 1 in the run. But a lot of people are thinking this is the better long-term book because it does feature a first appearance, whereas issue number 1 does not. Next up, we got X-Force 11. This is not the first appearance of Domino, but a lot of people think it is because it is more valuable than the first appearance of Domino. That's X-Force number 8. This one just has a way better cover, and Domino is more prominently displayed on it. So this actually holds more value than Domino's first appearance. And sticking in the X-Force category here, we got number 15 as well. Classic fight on the cover between Deadpool and Cable. These two really go hand in hand. Not only were they both creations of Rob Liefeld, but they've had their fair share of run-ins, including in Deadpool 2. Will we see these characters join the MCU? I certainly hope so, but who knows? Guess what? There wasn't just one copy. There were 2, and the other one was a newsstand. Pretty rare to find a newsstand of this book, considering it is from the early 90s. Next, we got New Mutants number 9. This is the first appearance of Selene. She is a very, very, very old mutant. I can't remember exactly how old she is, but like centuries and like millennia old, I think. I think she was like one of the first mutants, if I remember correctly. But yeah, newsstand copy of a New Mutants key, definitely worth picking up for $2.50. As was this next one. I got a little excited at first, thinking that this was an actual X-Men 28 for $5, or rather $2.50, but this is the JCPenney reprint. You can tell it's the JCPenney reprint. If you look at the back, there is an ad for Stridex face wipes, and that's one of the easy ways to distinguish between this and the original. But even though this is a reprint, it does hold significant value because it is exactly the same on the front of the book, and people like to pick it up to hold the place until they can afford an actual X-Men 28. In fact, I've seen some copies go on eBay for like $15 or $20, and I only paid $2.50 for this one. Next, we got Ren and Stimpy number 1, definitely a classic from my childhood. Really great, that like creepy, almost creepy art that Ren and Stimpy has sometimes. And it's still in the poly bag, despite the poly bag being cut open at the top. I'm eventually just going to take it out and, clean it up, press it. And it's a newsstand as well. These next two go hand in hand as well. We've got The Amazing Spider-Man Free Comic Book Day from 2007. Now, this is the first appearance of both Mr. Negative, who there's been some speculation on due to some Easter eggs in Spider-Man No Way Home, and Jackpot. Both these characters appear here as kind of like a preview before the actual run, and then their first kind of real appearance is in this book, Amazing Spider-Man Swing Shift number 1. The previous book is actually more expensive than this one. I think because it was given out for free. A lot of people didn't take care of it, so if you find a higher grade copy especially, those are worth quite a bit. But definitely look out for this book. If you ever find it cheap, I think it's worth picking up. This is an ASM book I did not expect to see for $2.50. We got ASM 204. This is the third appearance of Black Cat, and she's on the cover. The first appearance gets high in value, so does the second appearance. Third appearances, they'll trail behind pretty far, but this is a Bronze Age key of a major character who I think we're going to eventually see. So I think $250, I'm more than happy with that price. Next, we got some Daredevil from the Frank Miller run, that's the Daredevil stuff that you'll want to pick up. We got Daredevil 186 here. Awesome cover, by Frank Miller. He started doing the art at 158 and then also took over the writing at 168. So this is at the point where he was doing both the art and the writing, and he absolutely crushed it. I cannot highly recommend it enough. And we got another book from this run. We got 190. I believe this was the second to last book of his run. I think he stopped at 191, and this one's actually a key as well. This is the resurrection or the return of Elektra after she died, quote unquote, in 181. And she's on the cover. This character I would love to see come back. She was in the Daredevil television show. Who knows if she's going to make her way to the MCU. Only time will tell with those Daredevil and the rest of the Netflix stuff, what actually is going to be made canon and what characters are going to be making future appearances. That's it for the $2.50 books, so let's move up to some higher value stuff. This next group of books was marked at $10, so with 50% off, they only cost me $5 a piece, and there are some great keys in here that are certainly worth more than $10, probably in the 15 and 20 range, maybe even a couple that are a little bit more than that. Starting off, we got Wolverine number 17, a super awesome classic John Byrne cover, all red background, Wolverine coming at you, and it's a newsstand. We got Robin number 126, the first appearance of Stephanie Brown as Robin. It's got a great cover. It's a key Robin book. It's actually one of the only keys in the later part of this run. And, I'm a big Robin fan, so this is definitely one that I always look out for. And I found one in a dollar bin recently, too. This one cost me $5, and I'm fine with that. We also got Nightwing number 93. This one, a little bit of a controversial issue. Definitely deals with some more adult topics. And you can kind of tell by the front cover of the book, Nightwing is not in a good place here. So I always pick this book up again because it does have that key significance. Next, I could not believe that there were so many copies of this. I picked up I think it was 4 copies of Batman 442, the first appearance of Tim Drake in the Robin costume. Really classic George Perez cover. And not only were there 4 of the direct edition, there was also a newsstand copy. This is pretty rare to find in this book because it's from the 90s, and that newsstand it really sticks out there, within the shine of the bat signal. This next book, probably the best find in this entire haul, because it's a book that I paid $5 for, and it's selling on eBay for $30, $40 right now. It is Batman number 6 from the New 52 run, and it's the first appearance of the Court of Owls. Not only is there speculation about them appearing in the Batman film coming out in the next month or two, 2 months, 3 months. I forget exactly. The first part of 2022. But Court of Owls is also confirmed to be in the new Batman video game. I'm not sure if it's out yet. I don't really play video games, but someone told me that they are in that game. Maybe we'll see them on the big screen as well. But either way, this book is super hot right now, and I love the cover. We got Green Lantern 39 next, also part of that Blackest Night run. This is the first appearance of Larfleeze, the Orange Lantern. This is a book that I find pretty often for less than it is worth. Always keep an eye out for this. I'm always picking them up, and I feel like a lot of people just pass this one by and don't realize that it has some pretty major significance. Next, we got Champions Number One. This is a variant cover, which usually I stay away from, but this Champions run is pretty hot right now. People are speculating that some of these characters may be coming to the MCU. We also got Kamala Khan in this group, who is confirmed coming to the MCU. Miles, who's a major character who, eventually will show up for sure. And a lot of people are just speculating on this team possibly appearing. And if not, some of the individual characters. I know a lot of people are speculating on this version of Nova. Like I said, I usually stay away from variant covers and just go for the cover A. But for just $5 and on a book that's this hot, I think it was a good buy. Same with this one. We got Lazarus Number One. This book was hot. There was some speculation that this Image property was going to be made into a show. I think it was optioned and maybe even picked up, but there's been no news on any sort of development or anything, so I think it's cooled down a little bit. It was selling for like $15, $20, maybe even $25, but I think it's down to about the $10 range. So picking up for $5, I'm pretty stoked with that, and it's just one that I'll probably hold on to and see if anyone eventually does turn this into a show or movie. Speaking of independent books that eventually made their way to the big or small screen, we got Umbrella Academy number 1. This is from the second volume, which became the second season of the television show, the Dallas season. I believe this is cover A, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is cover A. I'm a big fan of Umbrella Academy, as well as the writer Gerard Way, who's the singer of one of my favorite bands, My Chemical Romance. And anytime I can pick this book up for under $10, I do. I've got a bunch of copies of this and other Umbrella Academy books that I'm going to be holding on to in my personal collection. We've got X-Men number 257 here. First appearance of Psylocke as Lady Mandarin. And I believe this is the first time Jubilee is seen in costume. I'm pretty sure that's also an additional key significance of this book. And it's a newsstand from the later 80s, which is great because, the lower print runs at that point. I think this was 1989. So at that point, newsstands are a little bit harder to find, not quite as difficult as books from the 90s. Going a little bit back in X-Men time, we got 191, the first appearance of Nimrod, also with this classic battle on the front between Vision and Colossus. This is a newsstand as well, but really that doesn't matter too much from this time period, as, newsstands were actually more common, but picking up a good old X-Men key for $5, I'm into that. Here's another one, another X-Men key. This one I was actually pretty surprised to find for such a good value. We got X-Men 239. This is the second appearance and first cover appearance of Mr. Sinister. His first appearance has gone up incredibly high in price. It has settled down a little bit, but nonetheless, this second appearance is a lot more affordable and has some room to grow. In addition to that, it is a newsstand. There was a second copy of this, and you know what? I ended up not getting it, and on the way home, I instantly regretted it. I should have just grabbed it. I grabbed multiples of so many other books. I don't know why I didn't grab the other one of this. Up next, we got X-Men 251, the greatest cover of all time. I'll just say it. This is my favorite cover, at least. I think it's phenomenal. Mark Silvestri did it. I always pick this up if I can get it for less than $10 because really it sells between 10 and 20 depending on the grade. And honestly, 9.8s are selling over $300, close to $400 at this point. So always look out for this one. On to some Amazing Spider-Man here. Was very surprised to see this only marked at $10 because this book has gone up in value over the last year as people are speculating on more Spider-Man villains to come to the screen. We've got the first appearance of Puma in Amazing Spider-Man 257, I think. What is this? 256. Sorry about that. 257 is the Ned Leeds as Hobgoblin book that's also been hot recently. It's a newsstand, and it's actually a pretty nice high-grade copy. This one's staying in the personal collection for now. I'm going to make a little bit more room up here and stick with the Spider-Man theme. We got Todd McFarlane once again, homaging Todd McFarlane. Spider-Man 13, homaging the cover of issue 1 from this run. Definitely a classic staple of the early 90s. Next, we got a book that there were 2 copies of again, Thor God of Thunder number 1. This is the first appearance of Old King Thor, and this is the run that introduced Gore the Godslayer, who's appearing in Thor Love and Thunder, which is coming out at some point this year. This is kind of the run that I think the movie is based off of, and for that reason, people are picking up, not just number 2, which is the first Gore, but also the whole run, especially number 1, because it is a minor key. Next, we got Rocko's Modern Life number 1, a show that I loved. In fact, my sign off on here is turn the page, wash your hands, and I say that at the end of all my videos. That's actually a reference to something from Rocko's Modern Life. If you ever want to see it, just go ahead and Google turn the page, wash your hands, Rocko's Modern Life, and you'll find a video, I'm sure. But yeah, great show, classic from the 90s. And then we got some Daredevil. This is definitely for the PC. We got Daredevil 71, a 15 center, decently good shape. It's not super high grade, but it looks pretty good. Only $5 after the discount. I was definitely happy to pick this up because I don't have it in my personal collection yet. The last $5 thing I bought was actually not one book. It was a whole set here of Flash numbers 1 through 10 from Flash Fastest Man Alive from 2009. Marked at just $10, so it was already $1 a book. I got it for $5, 50 cents a book. Great deal here. And, I like to keep these things bundled, and I'll probably just sell this off in a bundle itself. Let's move on to some higher value stuff, though. This last group of books has a mixture of prices, but I'm still going to start low and go higher, starting with the books that were marked at $15 with the discount, paid $7.50 a piece, and this first one was not only awesome, but there were 4 copies of it. We got Batman 608, the first Jim Lee artwork on a Batman book. Love this cover. And in addition to that, it's also the first book of the Hush run, one of my favorites of all time. Picking this up for $7.50, not only 1 copy, but 4 copies, definitely made my day. Here's another Batman book, this time in Detective Comics, number 737. This is the 3rd appearance of Harley Quinn, and the first time she appears in either Detective Comics or Batman, the 2 main continuity runs of the DC universe. I actually did not know this was a key until just last week. I was watching a video from Jim from Bronzeville Comics, and he mentioned it in his 1990-something DC video, and big shout out to him. Because I would have probably passed this up otherwise, but knowing what it was, I knew $7.50 was a great price on this book. Like I said before, Harley Quinn is hot and sells very, very well. Bunch of issues later in Detective Comics, we got $8.50. This is the first appearance, unofficially, of the Gotham City Sirens. The 3 of them team up in this book, but they don't call themselves the Gotham City Sirens until later on. So it's an unofficial first appearance. Typically, this book sells for about $25 or $30, so picking up for $7.50 was perfect. We got Iron Man next. I don't know a lot about Iron Man, but man, I know this cover. This might be a Bob Layton cover, maybe. I might be wrong about that, but I think it is. Anyway, just a classic Iron Man cover. I think this might have been part of the Demon in the Bottle run. It might have been before that, actually. I'm not sure. Anyway, like I said, everyone knows this Iron Man cover. It's a really popular one, and for just $7.50, great price. These next couple ones were marked at $20, so I spent $10 on them. We got Iron Fist number 15. No, not number 14. That's the first Sabertooth, and that's a pricey book. This is number 15. It's a battle between Iron Fist and the X-Men, and just has this great cover as well. I think this is John Byrne, but don't quote me on that. And this book all day sells for like around $20-$25, so $7.50 was totally a steal on it. Same with this next one. Happy to spend $10 on this. We've got Uncanny X-Men 268, a Jim Lee cover, looking good, and it also has some key significance involving these three characters. In this issue, we find out that they fought in World War II together. This is a newsstand copy, and not only was there this for $10, but there were 2 additional copies, both direct edition. So I got 3 total copies of this book for $10 a piece. And then we got some Thor issue 339, the third appearance of fan favorite Beta Ray Bill, and the first appearance of his hammer, the Stormbreaker. And we got a newsstand. I believe this is a Walt Simonson cover, and he's well known for doing this Thor run, and it's a really popular, set of artwork there. This next one I paid $12.50 for because it was marked at $25. We got Infinity Gauntlet number 1, a classic cover by George Perez. This actually, I believe, was in my George Perez review video, tribute video, and just, you know this story. This story has made its way into the MCU in some facet of, a way. It's not exactly the same, but nonetheless, Infinity Gauntlet number 1 from the early 1990s. This book, actually, I just sold a copy for $30 recently, but I just paid $12.50 on this one, so I'm happy about that. Here's another book with some relation to a film or television show. We got Immortal Iron Fist number 8, first appearance of Fat Cobra, who is appearing in the Hit Monkey animated television series on Hulu. I haven't watched any of it yet, but I have heard from people that they're excited about it, so maybe it'll be popular. I'm not really sure. Like I said, I probably will end up watching it at some point. I don't even think I've seen a trailer or anything for it. Nonetheless, really great book to have because it is a first appearance for something that's happening right now. Next up, we got The Punisher number 1. Now, there are multiple different Punisher runs, and you got to know the difference. This is the first Punisher solo run. It's a 4-issue miniseries, just like it says at the top of the book. Always look out for that, because those are some nice books to have. The other ones aren't quite as expensive, other than, a couple certain keys and number 1. The second run, which is an ongoing run, unlike this limited series, that one is also called The Punisher. So people get them mixed up a lot, but this is the more valuable of the two. The ongoing series then was followed up by Punisher War Journal, and then in the 90s we had Punisher War Zone. So those 4 different runs are kind of the main 4 Punisher runs that people look out for, collect. There's also like Marvel Knights and plenty of miniseries and things like that, but those are the first 4. And this one, I love the art. I think it's probably Mike Zeck doing the art on this. I'm not actually sure, so don't quote me on that. And this is a newsstand copy as well. Not that it matters too much, because I think this was like early to mid 80s. Then we got Wolverine number 10, classic battle between Sabertooth and Wolverine. Awesome cover. One of the more expensive books in this Wolverine run, along with the one with him and Hulk. Gray Hulk, what is that, number 6, I think, and of course number 1 in this ongoing series. I've been seeing this book creep up. It used to be a $10 book all day, but now I see it selling for 30, 40, even like $50. So paying just $12.50 on this one. Actually, I think, sorry, this one was marked at 30, so I did pay $15 on this book, as well as the Punisher book that came before. Those two were a little bit more expensive, and I think definitely worth buying, though. The last thing that I've got before we talk about the money aspect of this is this slab right here. We got Detective Comics 880 with this absolutely insane Jock cover of the Joker. Jock is one of my favorite artists, probably my favorite out of the like current artists. Not only that, but it's one of the later books in this run from Detective Comics, and gosh, it just stands out. It is honestly one of the only covers of the modern era that like is just a regular cover A. This isn't a variant or anything, but it just stands out so much. I bought this basically because I want to eventually upgrade to a 9.8. So let me talk a little bit about the money for this book. They were asking $200, but like I said, wall books and slabs were 25% off, so that took this down to $150. Well, my total for everything else came out to $462. So I said, okay, you're asking $150 on this. Hey, let's go $138, which is a random number, but if you add that to my other total of $462, that comes out to a nice even $600. The owner gave me a thumbs up on that deal, and I'm happy to pick it up. A 9.2, but actually not even just one. Multiple copies of 9.2 have sold for about 220 to 230 recently. So I think a 9.4 fair market value probably is around 250, maybe even a little bit more than that. Like I said, I bought this to eventually upgrade it to a 9.8. Which are kind of going in the $500 to $600 value. They've definitely come down from their peak, and it's probably a great time to pick this one up if it's something you want. It's definitely something I want. So yeah, let's talk about this whole group. Like I said, there are dollar bin books that I will feature in a video later this week. I think I paid about $40 or $50 for that total part. So everything that you saw in the video today cost me about $550. Now, I'm just going to include the dollar bin calculations here. So I spent $600 on this entire haul. I think conservatively, probably at least $1,200. I'm pretty sure that it should be easy for me to double my money. Even like still in the conservative range, $1,500 possibly. I think that $1,200 to $1,500 is where I will fall in a relatively short amount of time. Now, the less conservative, more optimistic view of this is that if you look at the market value of everything that I bought, it's probably closer to $2,000, maybe even as high as $2,500 worth of stuff. That being said, I always say this, you can't sell every book you buy. It is almost impossible. You have to be like grinding like crazy and having sales all over the place and finding the right buyers. And in addition to that, the stuff that you do sell, you're not going to be able to sell all of it at market price. People are going to bundle stuff together or ask for a couple bucks off, and it's going to be worth it for you to take those couple bucks off and make a sale. So, that $2,000, $2,500, that is very optimistic. More along the lines of that 12 to 15 is probably where I'll land, but I also might get a little bit lucky and land kind of in the middle of the two, maybe in the $1,700, $1,800 range. Either way, even if I just sell $1,200 worth, that's still doubling my $600 and a very good buy, in my opinion. This almost felt like buying a collection just because of how much stuff there was, in addition to it being a good range of, the dollar bin stuff that I'll show you later this week. Some books for like couple bucks, $5, $10, $7.50, all the way up to a really nice higher end slab like this valued around $250. That being said, I'm stoked about this. Some of this stuff is staying in the personal collection. Some of it I'll pass on, and we'll have to see exactly what makes it into my claim sales and my boxes for conventions. I hope you guys liked the video. Please don't forget, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up for a like, and leave a comment down below. Let me know how you think I did with this purchase, and tell me about any deals or sales that you hit up on New Year's Day to kick off the the start of 2022. Until next time, guys, turn the page, wash your hands.